So today around 11 p.m., I dropped a clip on the floor to close a packet or a little bag of potato chips. First it bounced on my desk and I tried to pick it up when it did, but then as soon as it bounced on my desk it hit the floor. I heard it when it did hit the floor, and then I began looking around everywhere, around my desk and under my desk, but I couldn't see it anywhere. I even looked in areas far away from my desk because I wanted to make sure that I looked everywhere before I finally stopped and called it quits. 3 hours later, I totally forgot about that clip that had fallen on the floor and I was outside on my balcony doing something else. And then I heard a sound of something drop on the floor. I turned to my right to see what it was, and lo and behold, it's a clip. And it just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and it was right on the floor where it should have fallen earlier. As strange and as nonsensical as this may sound, and as petty as this might sound, it still literally crashed my brain for a good 2 minutes, as I couldn't figure out where it went and how it came back. I was building a fence in a customer's backyard, and I went to the truck for a tool. I came back and there was a kid wearing a white and blue striped shirt, and he asked me, "What are you doing?" And I explained to him what I was doing. I was building a fence, and as I was doing that, I was digging holes to put posts as I walked by him. When I got back to the fence, I turned around for acknowledgement after I explained what I was doing to see what he was going to tell me next. But nobody was there. This lady came out of the house at that moment as I was glancing around looking for this kid again, and I said, "Where did he go?" "Who?" she asked. "That boy," I responded to her. "There's not a kid at that house," she said. I saw his white and blue striped shirt, and clearly there was somebody there who was a child wearing that. He was 3 or 4 years old, but this woman insists that no child lives in that house at all. And the area where I was putting the fence was pretty open, even though there was houses in this neighborhood, and there would have been nowhere for this kid to have run that fast to hide from me. I don't know what that was, and after reading posts on this forum, I'm convinced that it's something beyond explanation. The whole fam was in the car, and all the seats were filled up. We got to the bagel shop and everybody got out. Keep in mind that it's just me, my parents, and my brother. We waited right next to the car for my brother for what seemed like forever. I finally walked over to the car to tell him to get out and to stop wasting time. And I tell my parents, and we're like, "What in the world is going on?" We look around the car and around the shop for like 10 minutes, but nothing. The car alarm suddenly goes off, and we see my brother stuck inside of the door, and it's locked. A true glitch in the Matrix, I would say, as we couldn't find him, and we never saw him get out of the car, and he just reappears in the car itself. For those who want to know, my brother is 24 years old, and he's well past the age of hiding from my parents for giggles, if you know what I mean. The car isn't big enough to just simply hide anywhere for a 24-year-old man. It's a 4-seater, and he was in the front passenger seat. And like I said, when we got out to get down to this bagel shop, I turned around and he wasn't anywhere to be seen in the car itself. We waited for him to get out of the car for a few moments. I then went over to tell him to hurry up, and he wasn't there. I called over my parents and everybody peered in, astonished that he practically vanished into thin air. My dad locks the doors and we start looking around outside because maybe he just slipped out and we didn't notice. Then we hear this big super car alarm and notice that it's our car making the sound. As we get closer, we see my brother stuck in the car, obviously looking for a way to turn off the alarm. My dad unlocks the door and asks where he was, and he says that he was in the car the whole time. Nobody spoke about it any further. Me being part of this community, I was just dying to share this story as it was kind of weird, and I never thought something like this would ever happen to me. Ever since I was younger, I always sung this song, Bamboleo by the Gypsy Kings. I never knew the lyrics or anything, but I just thought that it was catchy. Anyways, I must have heard this song on the radio a couple of years ago because I just randomly sang it. My family knew about this and they would often joke about it and sing it with me. I even searched it on YouTube sometimes to play it because I liked it that much. I typed in Bambolero or Bamboleo, which is completely wrong for the spelling, but I guess due to how popular it was, it would always come up on auto search with the correct spelling by YouTube or Google. Flashback to last year around December 2020, and I started singing it around my house for the holidays. It was nothing new. My parents always heard me sing and they just kind of brushed it off as I'm always singing randomly. However, this time they seemed not to know the lyrics and they just brushed it off. I asked them why they weren't singing it with me or if they had forgotten the song, and I asked them as a joke if they didn't remember it, and they just looked at me really strangely. They said that they had no clue about the song that I was singing. I was quite shocked when they told me this, and I just thought they might have been kidding. So I took it to YouTube and I wanted to look it up. I wanted to play it for them because even though they told me they didn't remember, I thought maybe it's some kind of a joke on their part, and I just wanted to be stubborn about it. Maybe they just figured they were tired of hearing me sing it. But whatever the reason, I wanted to prove them wrong and show them that this song did exist. And the strange thing is that I couldn't find it. And I searched for it everywhere. And I went way beyond Google and YouTube. I even tried searching for it on TikTok, for God's sake. I even sung it with that new thing that Google has to try to identify songs. I tried every possible spelling, every possible pronunciation, and it wasn't there. I kept getting random Brazilian songs, ironically. It drove me nuts, and I was going insane. I think I stayed up till midnight for the whole week trying to find out where I could find this song, but I just wasn't having any success at all. Sometime later, I ended up uninstalling TikTok, and it really had nothing to do with not being able to find this song. I just kind of got tired of it. But then later in 2021, I reinstalled the app again for whatever reason, and sure enough, that song, Bamboleo, becomes trending on my feed in TikTok. I immediately look up the title and I search for it, and I play it, and I'm happy. Finally, I found it again, and I quickly sent a YouTube link to my family group chat. It was pretty late, so they didn't respond to me that night. The next day, I eagerly asked them if they listened to the song that I sent them, and they said they did, but they didn't know why I sent it. They knew the song, but they didn't remember when I was going crazy trying to find it. I kept trying to tell them about how they said they didn't remember it when I sang it out for them during the Christmas holiday and how they forgot about it. And I told them about how I searched for it and I searched for it, but I just couldn't find it back in December. And they looked at me quite shocked, as if they knew the song the whole time and never told me any of that. I looked at my search history and there was not a single trace of me searching up that song. Bear in mind, I don't delete my search history, and my Google account is always logged in when I search for everything. I knew where I had been looking online, and I went to all of my search histories on various apps. And this went all the way back during the holidays. As I said, I didn't erase anything. So I knew the dates, but nothing was there. None of my hundreds of entries were there. I thought that I'd look at the rest of my search history from the day that I found the song again to about a year ago, in the case that this happened at another time when we weren't at our holiday home. I analyzed everything, but I never found any other entries. So nobody remembers me singing the song around Christmas, and all the entries from that time searching for the song are gone. And now, all of a sudden, everybody remembers everything as if nothing like that ever happened. I'm kind of weirded out about this entire situation, as I know how obsessive I am and how stubborn I am, and I know I looked for this song hundreds of times, and I did finally give up at some point, but those entries should be there, and I don't know why they're not. Nobody went into my phone or any of my computers that I have and erased anything. And if they did, why would they only erase the times that I searched for the song by the Gypsy Kings? It makes no sense. I feel like I kind of stepped into some kind of a alternate timeline, and then I came back. I've been waiting for a while to share this story, so I figured that this is probably the best place. Last year, I go into my brother's room to say what's up, and I notice that he has a new haircut, and I tell him, "Hey, nice haircut." And he just kind of grunts at me and walks away, and that's just the way he is. He doesn't mean anything by it. Fast forward to the next day, and I'm making conversation with my grandpa, who has Parkinson's disease and is 73, and I say, "Zach got his haircut finally yesterday," to which my grandpa replies, "He got it today." Later on that day, I go to tell my grandmother that I think Grandpa's losing it a bit, as he thinks that Zach got his haircut today, and she tells me that I'm the one who's losing it, and that he did in fact get his haircut that day, not the day before. I'm super confused by this whole situation, and then I go to see my brother about his hair again and ask him about the haircut, and I tell him that I saw him the day before with his haircut, and then he tells me that he got it today. So I am going nuts, as everybody's been making me feel like a total idiot because I tell them that he got it the day before, and even now he's saying that he got it today. It makes no sense to me. How did I see him the day before with his new haircut when everybody says that he got it today? It's been bothering me for some time now. Any explanations out there? I'll preface this, as many here have, by clarifying that I'm by no means a spiritual person, and having said that, I have no way to describe what happened to us. Back in 2019, my girlfriend experienced the memory of a situation that had not yet happened. We were in my bedroom in my house, and she was on the sofa trying to recall about a funny remark that I had made to her. She said that she was reading something funny to me a few days prior, to which I replied with a funny remark, and she was telling me this because she couldn't quite make out what I had said. I was confused because I had no recollection of the conversation. We dwelled on it for quite some time, while she tried to remind me that I was by the bathroom door while she was lying down on the bed, but I had nothing come to me. She eventually shrugged it off and just forgot about it. Fast forward to a couple of days after, I had just showered and I was trying to dry myself off by the bathroom door frame, which is inside my bathroom. She was lying on the bed reading something funny on her cell phone right in front of me. She starts reading it back to me with an excited look as she remembered reading it. Her excitement seemed to slowly fade away. I take my cue and I start to make a funny remark about the story she just read, but I stop halfway and I ask her what's wrong. She is pale and wide-eyed, looking at her cell phone screen when it suddenly clicked. She looks back at me and jumps out of bed and finishes the sentence that I had just started. She knew exactly what I was going to say. It was exactly the memory she had 2 days prior. We spent a good few hours after the incident freaking out, trying to wrap our heads around what had just happened, and there was no possible explanation, and it was not deja vu. She literally described that event that happened days before it happened. I remember her mentioning specific sections of that story the day before. It wasn't a coincidence, and it wasn't a text that she had sent me again by mistake, nor could it have been me unconsciously playing some kind of a prank on her. It was really a memory of the future. There's an update to the story as well. She came over last night and I had her tell me the story again. She confirmed some things. The text she had was from a tattoo on a photo, on Instagram or Facebook most likely. She distinctly remembered bits of the text on the moments of the memory when it happened, as well as a certain movement that I did, followed by something that I said. However, at the moment she actually read the text back to me, she definitely had never seen the photo before, and then as soon as she read it, she felt a weird sensation as if the memory was rebuilding itself in her head. When she looked at me, she said it felt like her memory and her sight sort of converged into a single moment. That's when I asked if she was okay, and that's when she got out of bed. She repeated what I had just said before asking, and completed with a punchline, but the remark had no impact at all. She said that she had never felt so afraid before, because the feeling was just too strange to describe. I'm obviously very skeptical myself, so I confronted her about it, asking if it was possible that she just saw the same image twice, if it could have been a coincidence, or if she actually just had a very strong deja vu at the moment and the memory wasn't actually related at all. She denied all of it. She said that she was sure of the text when it came to her mind, and she knew exactly what I was going to say and do. Her family has a history of dealing with some supernatural stuff, and she has quite some memories about quote-unquote talking to angels with her aunt when she was young. But after analyzing everything, I just figured that we all might be living in a Jeremy Bearimy, if you know what I mean.